I love Counter-Strike. It's probably my favorite game of all time. I just really wish I was better at playing it. No!
That's right.
Which is why I've spent a lot of time over my years playing this game trying to get better, using guides, workshop maps, tutorials, spending endless hours working on utility and private matches. And while a lot of that has paid off, I've never really taken it as seriously as I think I could have. And over the last year of playing CS2 and making content around the game, I'm now more driven than ever to push my limits and see just how good I can get. Which brings us to the motivation behind this new series. The vast majority of coaching, tutorial content you'll find out there for Counter-Strike is usually given from players that have already reached a very high level, be it pro players, current or former, coaches, or just very talented content creators who play a lot of FACEIT or high-level matchmaking. It's not often that you see this content coming from the perspective of somebody in the middle of trying to grow as a player, and that's where I think I step in. You guys are going to join me on this journey to get better at Counter-Strike through things like dedicated practice, demo review, approaching climbing the ladder in both competitive and premier, and hopefully along the way we'll both see improvement in our game. My name is LionHeartZ. Thank you guys for joining me on this journey, and if any of this sounds interesting to you, make sure you guys take a second, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The majority of you who watch these videos are not subscribed, so make sure you do it. While you are down there, consider becoming a channel member at the link in the description down below. Gain access to videos like these the night before anyone else, as well as a shout out at the end of every video. And lastly, check me out on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/LionHeartZ CS2, where I am streaming Premier and matchmaking games Sunday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Drop on by, drop me a follow, and let's get better together. Alright, so since this is the first video in a series, let's start by establishing a baseline. So far in my CS2 career, I've reached 18,000 points in Premier. I average around AK Master in matchmaking. I don't actively play FACEIT, so I don't really have a rank there. I would describe myself overall as a slightly above average player, and I usually prefer to play as the leader and shot call when possible. I would say I have a pretty good utility strength and depth. In terms of mechanics, I would consider myself okay at using the AWP, pretty okay with my rifles and subs, and not very good with my pistols. And while I feel pretty comfortable with the AK and M4, I do think my pre-aiming is not as good as it could be, and I'm definitely not the best at spray control, especially deep into the magazine. So that's my perception of my strengths and weaknesses on a surface level, but one of the best things you can do both in life and in trying to improve at Counter-Strike is to get an outside opinion. So the first thing I'm going to do in this series is actually reach out to one of my good buddies that I play pretty much all of my Premier games with and ask them what they think about my game and what I could look to improve on during a series like this. I'm very fortunate to play with the same people pretty much all the time. I play almost all of my games with my brother Justin and Furley, who is here with me in the call today. And not only is Furley a very experienced Counter-Strike player who's been playing for a very long time, he also used to compete in the later days of CS Source and the early days of CSGO. So he has a perspective that I don't, because as I've stressed many times on this channel, I've never played organized Counter-Strike in any form. I'm very much just an average regular player. So getting that perspective from someone who has tried their best to improve in the most effective ways possible can be really beneficial to me. So Furley, first off, how are you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for taking some time to sit down and talk to me. It's actually a good time that we're doing this because we're coming up on over a year since CS2 released, and we've played all of our Premier games together, more or less, and a great number of competitive games, FACEIT games, over these last 12 months. So you've had a long time to see me play the game, make all of these mistakes that I continue to make, succeed where I tried to. So what I wanted to ask first off is, how do you approach trying to get better at a game like CS?
The biggest thing for me is the mental. Obviously, we get tilted here and there, everybody does, but it's coming back from that. If you can come back from the mental, you're easily going to learn to adapt a lot better and see your mistakes a lot more clear.
Mm-hmm. And then so when you're approaching, like, trying to find problems in your game, are you looking at games where you are winning or losing? Are you looking for specific rounds, or are you just analyzing, like, kind of like what's in front of you generally. You're not like looking for anything specifically.
Well, the way I generalize it for myself is I think about the spot I'm playing and I take it round by round. If I lose that spot early on, later on, or if I give up that spot, why did I give it up? Why did I die to that? How could I have not died from that? Obviously, how could I have lived and stayed in that position and held it longer?
Okay.
So I try to look at it in that perspective. How could I have held my spot and done my role better? Not the whole round, not the whole everybody's position, my spot only.
Okay. Well, I guess let's just get right into it. How would you describe like my strengths and weaknesses as a player?
I got a couple things. I mean, the main thing I've noticed is you've worked your way into strat color. It suits you very well. The biggest thing about it is, yeah, you know the basic strats of the maps. You know how to, okay, I know how to just throw everybody in a good spot and go and do it. The thing I would say is learning to adapt on the fly a little bit quicker to, I know every team that we play in Premier, especially, is not an organized team, so it's going to be different, but it's kind of an on the fly adapting. So figuring out, okay, they like to push a lot. We need to slow it down. Like, everybody needs to initiate that, but if you being the strat caller, you kind of got to reel everybody in a sense.
So kind of having that more openness to be willing to mid-round call and not be so like locked into the first plan out of spawn.
Exactly. And a lot of people, they'll be like, okay, this is the thing, we're going to do this. Oh, this happened, we got to pick here, let's actually hold it for a minute, see, because we have a lot of time to work with. A lot of times we go with fast strats, but we could always stop for a second, see what they reposition and see how they like to reposition. So for instance, say like an Anubis, a camera player likes to always push through mid on a kill on B. We always know, okay, let's hold on, we can get that other kill right there and then adapt and see where we want to go.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's definitely something I could work on a lot. I don't really think that like I went out of my way to become the like primary strat caller. I think it's just like something that a lot of us experience when you play a lot of Premier matchmaking, is that so many people just won't communicate or just go straight to defaults or go to their favorite position or whatever. And for me, that just like automatically is not the way I want to play. I want to have an idea of what we're doing and have some structure. So I think over time, because I already like to communicate a lot, I just stepped in and started calling strats, even if like I didn't really know what I was doing at first. I feel like that was just like the role that was always open.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You worked your way into it just because it seemed natural for you to get into that position. And as you can tell, sometimes with me, I'll mid round strat call, especially if you're dead. I'm like, okay, no, stop. We need to do this. So it's you usually have to have a secondary strat caller sometimes in that position, because somebody that's alive and still playing is going to be more impactful, because when you have somebody dead peeking over or talking over your shoulder, so basically it kind of throws you off, because I'm looking for that person on the map. Wait, how do you know what's going on? Like, it throws me off mentally. But having a secondary strat caller, it definitely helps. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one thing that I'm happy to work out at this point, where I feel like we've kind of hit this wall in terms of our own progression in Premier, is that my brother Justin is a very aggressive player. He wants to be the entry on T side. That's what he's really good at. And then you're a very good lurker, and that's where you want to default to. But I find myself often kind of in the middle, where there's not always a option for me to be like the second guy behind Justin, but also I don't know if I want to shift back and play a little bit slower, or stand back and throw utility, or find that like third spot behind Justin, whoever might be entry behind him, like a random teammate. But I do feel like outside of calling strats, I'm a little bit lost in terms of where I want to be in position of the pack.
And that's my point. It's you got to find a spot that you do feel comfortable playing, even though as a strat caller, I was gonna say, yeah, you know what you're doing, but where are you going to put yourself after that? Are you going to start trying to be an entry to get more information to make your calls better for the strats? Or are you going to sit there and let your teammates get the information for you to sit back and analyze more? And especially as a strat caller, that's one of the things you have to do. Either you're really quick on the fly, or you need a little bit more time to be methodical.
I think if I was going to give myself like one other point that I think I need to work on a lot, and that's why I'm trying to play more like solo games where I have to be in the position to try and win more rounds, is just taking the initiative more. I think I've fallen into a very similar trap where CSGO was way more favorable to the person holding the angle, but CS2 as a whole favors the person who takes the initiative. And it's hard for me to flip that switch to want to take the peak and be more aggressive, but like not in a way where you're just like mindlessly pushing, but like having that like opportunistic sense to take a peek, or otherwise maybe I would try to hold for someone to come into me.
100%, I agree, and that's why, you know, sometimes even in, this is like, say, the CT or terrorist post plant positioning, I won't hesitate. We get in a good post plant, I'll take the peak as long as I know somebody has that same cross angle that can catch off and get the trade. Like exactly the point you just made is taking the, you get the advantage by taking the peak. But trusting in somebody to get the trade is really important. So better post plant positioning, always see where your teammates are at, see how you can create like a triangle in a sense. Make a line that they have to cross in between you and your teammate is the best way I put it. Don't peek past that line.
Okay, cool. Now, if only you could help me solve pistol rounds, then I think I would actually start to improve as a player, but I think that one is left up to the CS gods at this point.
Just W key.
True. Once again, thank you to Furley for taking the time to sit down with me. You guys will definitely be seeing him again throughout this series because his insights into the game I think are really, really helpful. So now that we have this baseline of where I'm at right now, where the hell do we start with actually trying to get better? One of the big things I'm going to be using throughout this series is Refrag to help improve my training outside of the server. Refrag is a training and improvement platform developed by some of the best minds in the game like Pimp and Elige, and they are a company I've worked with in the past and a product I actually do support 100%. For the sake of transparency, I was given access to a premium account for the purposes of this video and throughout this series, but I go out of my way to make sure that if I work with a company on this channel, it's because it's a product that I am comfortable advertising to you guys. And I do believe in terms of training platforms that Refrag is the most useful and has actual value to players at any skill level. For me, one of my biggest issues with trying to approach getting better at Counter-Strike is that the tools that are available to us just within the game don't really help you to simulate in-game situations very well. Deathmatch, shooting bots, these things are all very useful, but there's nothing that replicates the feel of actually playing a game, and I do think the Refrag game modes come close, especially when it comes to stuff that I personally struggle with, like my pistol round efficacy, taking good pre-peeks, pre-aiming, clearing corners, things of that nature. Specifically in the routines tab, if you have Refrag, go here, type in pistols in the search bar. These pistol modules that Chaye have made are so helpful for me. Pistol rounds are something that I struggle with immensely. It's something that I don't even feel like I know how to engage with. So throughout the series, we're going to talk a lot about improving at pistol rounds specifically, and these routines are such helpful practice, such helpful warm-up, and I highly recommend them. Alright, so I feel like we have a good baseline of stuff to work on in the near future in these first few videos. The things that we're going to be focused on a lot are improvement at taking the initiative in my gunfights, being more proactive in how I play around the map, doing more training around basic mechanics like pre-aiming common positions, holding better crosshair placement, as well as working on spray control with my rifles, as well as general pistol round practice to try and bring up my efficacy in those rounds. We're going to be playing games throughout this series on an alternate account that I have that has not played any matchmaking or any Premier in CS2. That way we can start from a clean slate and see where we land and how we can improve from there. Hopefully you guys enjoy this type of content. Let me know in the comments down below what you're doing to get better at Counter-Strike. What are some tips and tricks you could give to other people to help them improve as well? I'll be down there replying as usual. This video is powered by advanced.gg. If you go to their website and browse any of their excellent products and decide to make a purchase, you can use my code LIONS10 at checkout for 10% off, and it lets them know that I sent you their way. Thank you to advanced.gg. Shout out to my channel members Justin, Jesse, Furley, Bubblesj, and Dr. Cocktor for keeping the lights on. If you want to become a channel member, you can check the link in the description down below. It helps me out immensely. While you're down there, also check me out on Twitch, where I stream CS2 Sunday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope to see you there soon. Other than that, my name is LionHeartZ. I'll see you guys soon with another video. Peace.